Lunar Industries for tuning up. Thank you very much. We had a blast making this film. I had some amazing help. We had a Mark Gordon company who sort of got me involved in the first place with Jake Gyllenhaal, and then we had Vendo who were involved in helping us put the film together and making it, and then the amazing Summit who've actually managed to let everyone in the world know that this film is coming. So thanks to all of them, and thanks to South by Southwest, and to our amazing cast of actors, Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, Vera Farminga, and Jeffrey Wright, and hopefully you'll get a chance to talk to them about it.
Well, I'm going to do a double shout out to Summit Entertainment who brought us this wonderful film, and it is, I wasn't even thinking world premiere. Yes, I got nervous and forgot that. So thank you all. We'll be back for the Q&A. Have a great time, and thanks for coming to South by Southwest.
With Moon, there weren't any expectations. With this one, there were a few, so... Thank you all for coming. I'd just like to immediately introduce the cast of the film. Vera Farminga, if Ben's here, the writer of the film, Ben Rickman.
Well, we're very fortunate to be able to have open questions right now to kind of, let's start right here.
Is that the question? Yes, I'm a huge fan of JJ.
Their question is about the parallels, perhaps, between this film and Donnie Darko, and did that affect the casting of the film? Duncan.
You know what, the casting of the right person to work in this partnership was key to making this film, which is why I was honored when Jake asked me to come and direct it.
Well, I have no... what? Am I supposed to answer that question? First of all, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I'm a big Duncan Jones fan. And there are parallels. My mind does not work in a linear way, unfortunately. And I think that benefits, the stories that I involve myself in, but neither does Duncan's. So we're a team, and that's the answer to that question.
Super.
Just to explain that a little bit, I went and met Jake in LA to discuss a film which I've been trying to make forever, and he said, that sounds really fascinating. One day we might be able to do that, but right now take a look at this. And he gave me the source code script, so that's how I got interested, and I thought it was fantastic.
Okay. Over here. Yes, you. Question is about the glow-in-the-dark stars at the top of the bed.
How could you possibly have even seen them? Oh my god, I was doing my job badly if that's what you were looking at during that scene. Did you notice there were actors in that scene at the same time? Really nice production design. Music's really good. Oh, there's Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm not answering that, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, you. So that non-question was about how, is there a question? The non-question part was how awesome the aerial photography in Chicago was. And the question is? That was it,
Michelle Monaghan spent a lot of time in Chicago.
Yeah, no, I did. Fortunately, I went to college in Chicago. It's a great city. But actually, honestly, actually only shot one day there, but the one day that we shot there was that particular day, which was a picture-perfect day. It was just blue skies and the flowers were blooming, and so anyway, thanks Chicago. I did.
Nice! Right on. Okay, the gentleman right in front of you. Yes.
It was a real torturous process for me to write this. I was thinking about movies like Rashomon and Groundhog Day and Sliding Doors, and eventually found my way to the train, and eventually found my way to the kind of terrorism plot. And I don't know. I wish I could, take a pill and do it again. I think it was trying to channel, a non-linear story like Rashomon. That's all I can tell you.
On the aisle. The question is that this is obviously theoretical, but how much are they looking at the basis of computer science to see how this would all work, right? Okay.
I knew a little bit about theoretical physics in terms of time travel not being possible, but parallel universes being possible. So that always intrigued me. And I've never seen a time travel movie that wasn't about changing the past, which is what Coulter wants to do the entire movie, is change the past. The early drafts that I wrote had a lot more science in it, a lot more explanation. You saw a lot more technology. And what we found is by stripping that out, by stripping out the explanations, it became somehow more believable because everyone just sort of accepted it.
Anybody observe? Yeah, go ahead, you wait there.
What's the significance of the Chesney Hawks song and also using the alarm clock?
The significance of the Chesney Hawks song.
I'm the one and only.
Yeah, I'm the one and only that's also using the alarm clock.
He was desperately trying to make the seats British flags on the train. That was like his goal, and the only way he could get any bit of his British culture into the movie was to put that song on the phone. That's my theory.
That's really not true. In fact, originally Jake was insisting that song played every time he was on screen. But I said, it might get a bit old because you're on screen an awful lot, so we went for the phone instead. It was. It's exactly the same piece of music. Chesney is a buddy of mine, and I remember that piece of music when I was young, and it just sort of was one of those things. It's kind of an inside joke for British people, but it was kind of a one-hit wonder and a piece of music you play it. Everyone in the UK knows where they were when it came out.
Yes, Senator Duncan.
I'm curious what was meant to attach to the soul of Sean Fisher to be taken over by
The question, wait, I guess you can't repeat that. The question is the passage of the soul. What happened to Sean? Okay.
Sean's dead. Just going to have to accept that. He's a great guy, though. No, I think there's a lot of ways to interpret that ending, but as far as Christina knows, her friend Sean is still there. And they got off that train and they're enjoying a day in downtown Chicago, as far as she can tell.
Sorry, I've thought about that a lot because, I think on a philosophical level, I think that there's a sense that, I always thought that, you have little births and little deaths every day, experiences that you have. You meet somebody, or you meet somebody new, or you meet someone you haven't seen for a long time, and all that happens. And so I think, in a way, both of them kind of merge in that moment. And when you see that last shot of the two of, you see Coulter and then you see Sean Fentress, it's a sense that, she does see him and he sees himself in a different way, whether it's Sean or Coulter, or whatever that might be. So, I think it's kind of a metaphor, a nice metaphor for the fact that, we all have these little births and deaths, metaphorically speaking, figuratively speaking, every day.
Thank you. You're in the front, the left. Yes, sir. Sure. The question is for Vera about character at a pivotal moment where she has to make a choice and...
Sure, I think that's probably the moral dilemma that I was drawn to. Do you torture one person over and over in a death whom you grow to admire and love? Or do you save 100 others that are strangers? And that was an interesting moral quandary for me. I mean, I didn't work with Ben, we just met. And we worked together. But that is something that was very intriguing to me, and something that I work towards, because the character itself is very confined, and I found that to be a challenge. You know, I could be in a swivel chair, I could swivel left and swivel right, but that was the extent of the freedom. So to me, it was more a psycho-spiritual dilemma that intrigued me.
I have to say, when we started working together and I could see how good you were at the swiveling, I decided we should get you out of the chair. And we added some scenes where you got to walk around.
Oh, we just have time for like a couple more, so we'll go right here. The question is what great chemistry the actors had together, so how important is it they hung out together beforehand, or are they just so awesome?
We're that awesome. No, Jake and I, the first time we met, we actually really hit it off. He's got a great sense of humor, and we spent a couple of weeks, I think, rehearsing. And we really got to know each other. And you know, we sat across from each other on that train for 12 hours a day for I don't know how many weeks. So, you know, we got to know each other really well. And he's really fun and easy to be around, wonderful to work with. And as every chick knows, he's really easy on the eyes.
Comment on that? I think that it's essential that you have a connection between these two people, because they have such a subtle, it's so subtle what happens between the two of them, and ultimately where they end up is such a huge place, you know, and the choice that he wants to make is such a big choice. And so when you know, we day in, day out, we would spend time, it's true, like we would spend time, beforehand we did have, this movie happened very quickly. I mean, it came together very quickly. We were literally, the train was out of the station, so to speak, like very quickly. And so, you know, when we started working together, we didn't really have that much time to get to know each other. And so we just, we faked it pretty well, I think. No, we spent a lot of time on set together, just getting comfortable with each other. And it was interesting how we shot it too, because, well, anyway, I'll let Duncan talk about that.
I would just say that rehearsal time is really important, because you know, Ben's script is incredibly well crafted and is very skillfully put together, but you know, it takes a lot of work to wrap your head around it and how it works and why it works. And it's important, I think, for the actors, well, it's incredibly important for the actors to understand why we're doing the things and why each scene occurs the way it does and sets up the next scene. So that rehearsal process of understanding the script meant that when it came to actually shooting and having the time to, you know, improv bits and play around with it and push the boundaries on maybe what we thought we were going to do and take it in a slightly different direction. I think tonally the film sort of found itself during those initial rehearsals in the first few weeks of the shoot, because it could have been very serious. We could have taken it very seriously. And I think that edge of humor to it, that little injection of comedy, I think really helps it. I think it moves it along.
Okay, we'll actually take one more. Who's got like the best question? Sorry, the red shirt, they're telling me. Sorry guys. It was actually the one down here. Can't hear you at all. Start again. Stand up.
Projector!
Yeah. The question is, because of the time shift, how confusing was it to know where you were?
The most important thing for us was always to have variation. You know, that eventually we set up a sort of system, and then the system we could kind of subtly break apart. You know, that there's in the third source code, Michelle has her arm up when you meet her for the first time, and then Duncan decided that he wanted to shoot the fourth and fifth one in a different way and enter it in a different way. And so there was always a sense of variation and a knowledge that if we didn't vary it, you would lose something. Yeah, the repetition just becomes. And so.
Well, I was just saying, we basically, it was very, very important, right from the start. As soon as we read the script, I think for all of us, you kind of know that this can go one of two ways. You can either repeat the same event again and again and bore the audience to tears, or you find a way to differentiate every one of those revisits. And that's not just narratively, but it's visually and even performance-wise. I think there were nuances and things that Jake was doing differently that gave Michelle different things to react to. And then there's this ongoing arc of the story between Vera and Jake and their relationship over the whole course of the film. So everything has a structure and a change that arcs over the entire period of the film story.
We were also so tense most of the time that we were getting everything right that I think it added to each day. And regardless of what you were doing over and over again, it was, did we make sure that did I do that? Yeah, you got it. Are you sure? Yeah, I think so. What do you mean you think so? You know, it was like every day was that. So there was a tension that was inherent in making sure that all the details were gotten and that I gave him everything that he needed to come together.
Okay, Duncan says one more. You want to pick which one? Yeah. You want to pick one? We'll go up top. So the gray shirt. Well, I was saying we were done, and he was extending it. Is what's happening here. He's giving us extra time. Good.
Congratulations, mate. Love the film. My question is, having watched the Oscars a couple weeks ago, it seems like every other person collecting awards from our neck of the woods. Do you think that Britain is still surely taking over Hollywood?
The question is Britain taking over Hollywood?
If they are, I'm screwed, because that means all the goodwill's out the window now. It's going to be Americans for the next 100 years.
Well, we want to really thank everybody for coming. It's a privilege.
Thank you so much, everyone. Tell everyone. If you like the film, tell everyone.
Upstairs as well. There's an exit right behind us.
I have no... what? Am I supposed to answer that question? First of all, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I'm a big Duncan Jones fan. And there are parallels. My mind does not work in a linear way, unfortunately. And I think that benefits, you know, the stories that I involve myself in, but neither does Duncan's. So we're a team, and that's the answer to that question.
Super.
If Ben's here, the writer of the film, Ben Rick.
Well, we're very fortunate to be able to have open questions right now to kind of, let's start right here.
Is that the question? Yes, I'm a huge fan of JoJo.
Their question is about the parallels, perhaps, between this film and Donnie Darko, and did that affect the casting of the film? Duncan.
You know what, the casting of the right person to work in this partnership was key to making this film, which is why I was honored when Jake asked me to come and direct it.
Wow.
Lunar Industries for turning up. Thank you very much. We had a blast making this film. I had some amazing help. We had a Mark Gordon company who sort of got me involved in the first place with Jake Gyllenhaal, and then we had Vendo who were involved in helping us put the film together and making it, and then the amazing Summit who've actually managed to let everyone in the world know that this film is coming. So thanks to all of them, and thanks to South by Southwest, and to our amazing cast of actors, Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, Vera Farminga, and Jeffrey Wright. And hopefully you'll get a chance to talk to them about it.
Well, I'm going to do a double shout out to Summit Entertainment who brought us this wonderful film, and it is, you know, I wasn't even thinking world premiere. Yes, I got nervous and forgot that. So thank you all. We'll be back for the Q&A. Have a great time, and thanks for coming to South by Southwest.
With Moon, there weren't any expectations. With this one, there were a few, so... Thank you all for coming. I'd just like to immediately introduce the cast of the film. Vera Farminga,